Florida State escaped Oklahoma State. LSU with a comeback from being down by 17 to beat Wisconsin. And Todd Gurley falls in love once again with the end zone. But that was all last week. And with that being said, welcome to 15 and Counting, Touchdown Alabama Magazine's premier football show, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I'll be yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. But enough about me. This show is more so about the guy right beside me, the man of Galveston, Texas, Ivan White. Ivan, how you doing?
Good, man. But you know, this show really is just about Alabama football and the Crimson Tide, man. I can't be selfish on this one.
You cannot be selfish on this one. This guy's a charitable guy right here. But last week, Ivan, Alabama took on West Virginia in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome, the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, and it was a little bit of what we expected going in. West Virginia moved the football, Clint Trickett pass for over 300 yards with a touchdown. Dana Holgerson's high-paced offense, they moved the ball down the field. They were able to throw on Alabama's secondary. But there were some good things on the defensive side for Alabama, despite not having Trey Dupreez, Reggie Ragland, Reuben Foster, both combined for 13 tackles. Landon Collins had 8 tackles. Despite Cyrus Jones being only 5'10", he had 7 tackles. So there were some good things. Alabama generated 3 sacks in the defensive line. Xavier Dixon had 2, Jonathan Allen had, of course, 1. Offensively, Blake Sims. Everybody was looking for Jake Coker. Coker had his leg heavily taped in warm-ups by the training staff before the game. Didn't get to go early, so it was Blake Sims wire to wire, and young man managed the game very well. Completed 73% of his passes, 250 yards, but despite the 1 interception, you got to give Lane Kiffin a lot of credit and Saban a lot of credit for sticking with Sims and kind of using that no-huddle offense to keep him going.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what they kept teaching during the camp this offseason, was that Blake could run the offense at a more faster rate. But if it did slow down a little more, then the advantage did go to Jacob Coker. And I did like the way Lane Kiffin did keep the offensive tempo up and kept the defense guessing as to say, are they going to go hurry up here? Or, well, not hurry up. Obviously, Alabama doesn't run like a true hurry up, but obviously they can still get their own version of the hurry up nonetheless. But the thing I'm worried about for Blake Sims is how is he going to roll off of this next game? How is he going to roll off to the next game? Because we've seen him as a starter now for only 1 game, and 1 game can't tell the whole career. So with Jacob Coker, he's been guaranteed to play, and I'm guessing everybody in town is just eager to see what he has to offer at all. But I don't know if it's even have enough time as the Alabama Crimson Tide. Do we have enough time to wait for Jacob Coker, or do we just roll with Blake Sims at the moment?
Well, those are excellent questions right there. The aftermath of the entire game, Alabama did defeat West Virginia 33-23. Amari Cooper had a great game, 12 receptions for 130 yards. DeAndre White, 6 receptions, 73 yards, including a 38-yard shake and bake against 5 West Virginia defenders. And even the running game, TJ Yeldon, Derrick Henry, both going over 100 yards, both scoring touchdowns. There, Ivan, that was last week. This is this week. Alabama first home opener against Florida Atlantic this Saturday at Bryant-Denny Stadium at 11 a.m. And this game, a lot of people call games like these cup games. I don't like to use that term. I like to call them tune-up games, build-up games until you play your big-time competition. Alabama has Florida coming up in the schedule on September 20th, but before then they take on Florida Atlantic and Southern Miss. When you look at this game against Florida Atlantic, Ivan, do you see anything new Saban may try, Kiffin may try? Do you see more of freshmen taking the field, getting their feet wet? I mean, what do you see in this matchup?
Well, obviously I do see the freshmen getting a lot more playing time than they did last week against West Virginia, but I also do see this week that maybe defensive backs change up the coverages a lot. Last week they were burnt, specifically, which player was burned?
Bradley Seals.
Bradley Seals was burned multiple times last week, so we're just going to have to wait and see if the defense does try and change up things. But like you said, I don't like calling these games cupcake games either. You know, I believe that these are, you said tune up, I like these games as to see where you're at. Because every team in college football has at least 1 or 2 players that could burn you no matter which team you are. So, with that being said, we know Florida Atlantic does have speed. We've learned that from previous years. So, and they do like to run the option-based offense, which has tended to give Alabama defenses difficulty, especially Nick Saban defenses. So, I want to see, does the speed option, have we progressed? Have we learned how to cover it better? Or are we in the same boat as last year with the option as we were sitting with the Auburn game and a little bit of the Oklahoma game when they ran the option sparingly?
When you look at Florida Atlantic, it starts off with their quarterback, Jaquez Johnson. Jaquez Johnson, 6'1", 225 pounds. He's a dual threat guy. Last season completed 58.2% of his passes for 1,876 yards, 12 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But Florida Atlantic got blasted against Nebraska last week, losing 55-7 in that game. Jaquez Johnson, 6 for 12 passing, 61 yards, and 1 touchdown. But he was also their leading receiver, their leading running back, leading rusher last season. Johnson rushed for 772 yards with 10 touchdowns. So when you look at Johnson, you're coming into a hostile environment in Bryant Stadium. You being the quarterback of Florida Atlantic, you got to get these guys not only composed, but mentally focused to play a football game. Because if you look at Vegas and every spread across college football, Florida Atlantic is a huge underdog. Am I saying they're going to win this football game? Of course not. But even with the quarterback of Johnson's caliber, what does he have to do mentally, physically, and from a leadership standpoint to get these guys ready to at least try to compete with Alabama?
I feel like they have to come out loose and just don't think about what game you have.
Hold on, by loose, are we saying MJ sticking out their tongue loose? Or are we saying loose like coming out there Peyton Manning just kicking everybody off loose?
I want to say you should come out there with the mindset of this is a huge game, but this is a game not only for your team. I know it's team versus football, but it's also a game for yourself. You can put yourself in the spotlight as well. If you're a Florida Atlantic, any player on that team should be saying that this week. It's my chance to be in the spotlight and show that I can help this team and I contribute to this team more than what they're using me right now, or I deserve an increased role from starter to maybe key player on the team.
Are you sitting telling me that one of these Florida Atlantic players is going to try to put themselves on SportsCenter's top 10 after this game?
It's possible.
Oh wow, it is possible. Anyway, you have Jaquez Johnson at quarterback, but they also have a talented wide receiver core led by Lucky Whitehead and also Duke Williams. Williams Dukes had 35 catches last year for 553 yards and 6 touchdowns. Really a speed guy, very good slot receiver. Defensively, Florida Atlantic is led by Andre Kirk at linebacker, 84 tackles last season, 4 pass breakups. Brandon Bryant is their sack specialist, had 6 sacks last season, leading the team. And in the secondary, Florida Atlantic led by DeJuan Smith and Christian Milstead. Both guys combined 11 interceptions. Look at Alabama. We talked about how they're looking to kind of get prepared for Florida. Going back to Monday's press conference with Saban made adjustments at Monday's practice, switching out Bradley Seal for Eddie Jackson. So it'll be Eddie Jackson and Cyrus Jones on that first team defense and the secondary. Do you see more of Alabama even going with special teams in this game against Florida Atlantic? Or do you see more of a really cohesive offensive flow and Adam Griffith, J.K. Scott really used a lot in this game?
I feel like they'll be used a lot. I mean, special teams here is something that's been increasing. It's been getting bigger and bigger each year here. And Christian Jones last year in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game against Virginia Tech showed us that special teams is nowhere near from being done from the Javier Arenas games that we had. So I believe that the kickoff return game is going to be huge this week, but also, like you said, Griffin, the kicker, great job last week in the game. And I think he was the SEC Special Teams Player of the Year.
He was. We're going to start calling him Griff now. If Saban calls him Griff, we're going to start calling him Griff now. I mean, the guy was 4 for 4, 6 for 3.7 yards per kick, had a couple of touchbacks in there. And J.K. Scott, when your first punt nets you 62 yards, you're doing an outstanding job.
Yes, you are, and you're doing an outstanding job. If you're at the University of Alabama, they expect greatness, and they expect, like Coach Saban always says, the process to go through. And this is one of those games that is involved in the process. This might not be a marquee game on ESPN late at night. This might not be in Baton
I mean,
Rouge.
it will be on SEC Network, so give those guys some credit.
But it is an 11 a.m. kickoff. Though.
Okay. Oh,
So with that being said, you still have to get up to these games. It's all about the process. This is one of those games where you can help build yourself, where you can be great in the Florida game and not just good. But Steven, I like the way this team, the demeanor they had after last week's game.
I like the chemistry of this team. Saban always talks about the chemistry of this team. They love each other on the field and off the field, building each other. The key questions, offensively and defensively, starting on the defense. Defensive back Jarek Williams did fracture his foot in the West Virginia game. He will be out for 4 weeks. So, in this match with Florida Atlantic, you look at Geno Smith, Nick Perry, Lawrence Hootie Jones. Which one of these three has to step up?
Hootie. I think Hootie has to step up the most because
You're putting the freshman in there? I think you're going to tell me Geno or Nick Perry.
we've seen Geno already. We can see what we can expect from Geno. Hootie, this is new blood in the territory, new blood in the water. We need to see what he's got and what he has to offer for this team. But also, you also talked about the injury front. The big injury last week was actually DeAndre White.
I agree.
DeAndre White, that's a big loss. He was doing great in that first game. It looked like he could be maybe Kevin Norwood's replacement from last year as they go-to receiver for Blakeson. But we're going to see who replace him. Again, I'm looking for Christian Black to rebound and have a bigger game this week. Of course, Amari stepped up last week and was leading receiver for the team. So I'm looking for this team to step up and just show why the University of Alabama is who they are and to show that, yes, there were some concerns, but we are going to address those concerns in the next 2 weeks prior to the Florida game.
When you talk about DeAndre White, he'll be out for 2 weeks with a minor separated shoulder, but in Wednesday's press conference, Saban named 3 players that can very well play in DeAndre White's spot. Those 3 players being Christian Jones, Chris Black, and freshman wide receiver Ardarius Stewart. Man, he can get a chance to emerge and get some playing time in there. But when you look at Alabama defensively, yes, they gave up over 300 yards of total offense to West Virginia. Yes, they sat there and gave up 23 points. But in this game right here, do you see more of a fire from defensive coordinator Kirby Smart to get into his guys to pitch a shutout? Because you have so many people saying, oh, Florida Atlantic will score 3. Florida Atlantic will score 6. I even looked at one Vegas spread and somebody said Florida Atlantic will score 10. I don't know how it's going to happen, but do you see Alabama pitching a shutout in this game, even when the second stringers and third and fourth stringers roll on the field?
I would say yes, but with an asterisk next to it, and what I mean by that is if they dial up the blitzes more than they did last week against West Virginia. That is one problem I had with the defense. I don't believe they dialed up enough blitzes. Yes, we did put pressure on the quarterback, and we got back there for a couple sacks, but with as physical as our defensive line and our whole defense as a whole is, I wanted to see more blitzes, more pressure at the quarterback. If we were already getting beat deep on one-on-one coverage no matter what. So if we send blitz and extra pressure, at least that's not giving them time to sit in the pocket. That is something I want to see this week is more blitzes dialed up. As you know, people have known me watching this show for the second season already. I love blitzes, so if you know me, I want to see more than one sack. I want to see 3 or 4 guys tackling one guy at the same time. I want to see hustle.
He wants to see hustle, people. He's the Johnny Gruden and Warren Sapp of 15th County, Ivan White. The guy loves defense, and what better defense to love and bringing up blitzes and trying to create pressure on the quarterback. We're going to take a quick break here on 15th County. Don't touch that down when we get back. We're talking about national games. SEC gets an easy slate this week, but in the nation, we have some big games to preview. You're listening to 15th County, Touchdown Alabama Magazine's premier football show.